And hello, I'd like to welcome everybody to, I forgot even the number of gatekeeper or of gatekeepers of a girl, a guy, and a movie that this episode is. But I'd like to welcome everybody to our review of the movie The Raid from 2014, directed by Gareth Evans and starring a bunch of people whose names I could probably butcher better than pronounce properly. Janet, how did you like that movie?
Um, I thought it was pretty good. It had a lot of action in it. I thought this was even better than the first one.
You liked it better than the first?
Uh huh. I thought
Wow.
it had a lot more human, qualities. That you know what I mean. Uh,
Hmm.
Relationship, family feelings, revenge, all that type of stuff. That's what I mean when I say, feelings or whatever. Not just a bunch of guys wanting to shoot so many bullets that it's impossible for the guns to hold that many. Plus, this had a lot of the stuff that I like with swords, fists, and kicking, uh, poles, whatever they could get their hands on, shivs, instead of having just a Rambo style Armageddon.
That could
So,
have very well happened throughout this entire movie, and it didn't. We
yeah.
we got our we got a like a combination of The Departed meets a real gritty Hong Kong noir movie is what it reminded me of.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I thought it was really, really good, and I did recognize a few of the fighters and other characters in the movie from the original first one. I mean, don't ask me how to say their names or anything, but just from their what they look like.
Yeah, the movie starts off 2 hours. Travis is like, meow. Hey, Flatey, how you doing? The fat gamer came in earlier. Good evening, everyone. If anybody's got any positivity out there to loan to Travis, he's got a little bit of pain on his side there, as you can see. Um, this movie comes out 2 hours after the first movie ends, and it is a it once we got the movie going because there was some associated drama. And I found out that this movie is blocked on a lot of platforms that you can't really share it in certain theater venues, if you understand what I mean, my high seas companions. You have to find other inventive ways to share it, or you have to just go the legit route and go to Amazon Prime, which we did not do because fuck you, Amazon. You gave us Rings of Power, you gave us Wheel of Time, you're giving us some miserable crap that you're calling Warhammer. I don't care if it's that guy Henry Cavill in it or not. No, I've got the worst freaking paint in the world in my garbage right now, and it's all Citadel paint used for Warhammer stuff because it doesn't stick. All right, sorry. No Amazon money, no Amazon money for you. But this movie, once we got watching it, it starts off in this desolate green plain, like there's some sugar cane, I think is what it is, and then
Oh, I thought it was like wheat.
no, I don't think it's wheat. I thought it was sugar cane for some odd reason. It might be wheat. It might be a variety of wheat I'm not familiar with, which that is completely possible because I'm not a well
But it
learned
was
man
kind
on
of
that.
tall, so you're probably right. I think it was sugar cane. When you first said that, was thinking you were saying rice, but rice is a lot shorter.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think you're right. I think it is sugar cane.
I just have to post to the Fat Gamer real quick. Um, Fat Gamer, I was going to write something to you, but you have a really interesting question that pertains to my hobbies, and I'll just say that Reaper Miniatures. This is one of their sculpts that they have. This is a metal sculpt. I paid like $17 for it. It could be a frost giant or it could be a fire giant because it's got the right sizing for it. And this is something important. The older Reaper miniatures are true scale for 3.0 and 3.5 in Pathfinder. The newer stuff that they have from Reaper miniatures is a little bit bigger, and it feels like it's more huge based, not true large. But this is another Reaper miniatures figure. I would. I don't care if the guys from Reaper miniatures are woke and they all got blue hair. As long as they never show themselves woke with blue hair, I will continue to proudly purchase racks and racks and racks of Reaper miniatures paint because it works. When I put Reaper miniatures paint on something, it sticks. It stays on there for years. Okay. So I would tell you that the Reaper miniatures, in either the miniatures, they have plastics. Here's a plastic version of the lady that I showed you earlier, and it's washing out because I have a bright light over here. But this has got some good detail on it, even though it's the bones white. This is their least effective, their least the least amount of detail I want to expect on a figure. A lot of these are WizKids figurines, and I'm not really impressed by these at all. I bought a lot of them before I got my hands on them, and I actually played with them outside of the package, and I'm like, sometimes the detail is really good, and other times the detail is just ass. And it's one of those things where you have to find the miniature before it's ran through like 4,000 prints. But I would say to the fat gamer that Reaper miniatures is where my money goes. WizKids makes a Budweiser style miniature. Budweiser is enjoyed by a lot of people. You can do a lot with Budweiser. This is a Reaper Kobold. And I like the detail on this little guy a little bit better. I haven't painted him up all the way, which is why he's still on the work desk. But I would go with Reaper miniatures every day of the week if I could. Sorry about that, Janet.
No big deal.
That sugar cane. And that's when Andy from the first movie, the brother of Iko Uwais, his character's name is Rama, and he played the cop in the first movie. Rama's brother Andy gets killed in the first 45 seconds of this movie, setting up everything to happen. Because you get to meet the main protagonist of this film in that moment. You get to, and his name is in that movie is Bejo. He's played by Alex Abad, and he plays a very menacing bad guy. And he plays a different bad guy for most movies. Most time, whenever you have a martial arts film, you don't have somebody with a handicap. This guy not only survived his whatever it was, but he thrived hard enough to where he actually became the big boss. And he's walking around with a cane and a crutch the entire time. And I find that to be just fun. That's fantastic. And he tells Andy before he kills him, he's like, "You were a few steps away from this conversation. You should have stayed in your lane. You got greedy, and here we are. And worse, you decided to side with Bangoon, who's another mob boss in the city of Jakarta. And now look at where you're at. We're here in a sugarcane field, and you're going to die." And Andy pleads for his life as a 12 gauge is put up to his head, and you see a brief moment of superior special effects, even though they are augmented by CGI. There's some really good special effects in that first shot that goes out. More on the shotgun special effects later. Janet, when you saw that, did you recognize the character from the first movie or no?
Yes, at least I thought I did. I wasn't 100%, but watching it because it was kind of little for me to see it, but he
Mhm.
did look familiar. But one thing that popped in my head, and I can't, well, I probably shouldn't say because it's gonna
Go
laugh at
for it.
me, but um, growing up, I remember my mom watching movies, Elvis movies. Okay,
Mhm.
like Getaway and some other stupid, corny singing along, bright colors, and you know, tight jackets with a little whatever right here, you know,
Yeah.
like scarves or something. They called it something different when a man would wear it. But every time I saw a couple of the characters in there, the way they had their hair styled, um, they were very, it looked like 1960s, 19 early 70s style, their
Yeah.
hairstyle and the little, God, what is that thing called when the man wears a scarf like that and he tucks it into his shirt like
Oh,
Elvis used to do?
I know what
It
you're
wasn't
talking
called a
about.
scarf. It was called something, scapia I don't know. I can't remember the word of it, but that's what it reminded me of every single time. Those two guys, the son of the rich boss guy, and that other character that was in the beginning that
Mhm.
shot the man. That's what I
Yeah.
thought of. Those flashbacks of my mom watching all of those Elvis movies with all those characters dressed like that in the jackets like looked like they couldn't move their arms and stuff because
Mhm. They look
just
tight
the way
fitting.
the shoulders were, I don't know, it's just the clothing. It sort of reminded me of. So I tried not to laugh every time I saw it. But even though it
Flavy
was
and Papa
insane.
Cotton are both saying they're both ascots.
Ascots. Yes, that's it. Okay.
And
But
actually, I'm reminded now that Kingpin from the Daredevil movies typically wore an ascot.
okay, yeah, I've seen them in a lot of different movies. Uh it's very attractive on some guys the way that they wear it, depending on where you're at
Yeah,
wearing
it
it.
depends on the cut and who the person is. The
But
wrong
it's where you're
shirt will
wearing it
ruin
too.
a
You
man.
don't wear it out in the middle of a rice field or a sugarcane field. You know what I
No,
mean? You stand out really bad. Ascot. I'll have to remember that. I knew it was something. You just don't see very many people wear it because I mean, who dresses like that
the
every
main
day?
protagonist in your next book. Oh wait, did I say that aloud?
Maybe.
Um, Fred from Scooby Doo wore an ascot,
Hmm.
and I have to say that I don't know what's going on. I've heard they've put out a new Scooby Doo, but I refuse to believe it. Much like I refuse to believe that there's a new trilogy of Star Wars movies that came out in 2014 or 15, and I don't care. Um, the old Scooby Doo is all that matters.
Yeah, I felt really bad for the main actor in this movie's character because of the predicament he was put in right away.
Hmm.
After when you think about when it first starts and everything, you're thinking about all the crap that he went through
Yeah,
to
and this
get
is
out
like
of
the
and
day
how he
April.
survived it in the first place, even though it's been a while, for us since we
Hello,
watched the
Leah
first
Rose.
one. Um, but I really felt it was very intense. And I really felt bad for him,
Yeah,
especially missing his wife and
seeing his
child, or
son
about to
grow.
have the child.
Well, his son gets born in this movie.
Yeah,
At
we
the
don't
start
get to
of
see it
at the start
born.
of the film, spoiler alert. This movie is from 2014. So if
Mm.
you've not seen The Raid Part 2 yet, shame on you. And buy it on Blu-ray or on regular DVD because that's the way you want to have it. This is a fantastic film, proud to be on your shelf. And the start of it, after the hero's brother gets murdered in a sugarcane field, after that, he's briefly shown in a bathroom stall, and it's like the world is closing in around him, and he's thinking about all the decisions he's made, and then it goes back to the night that he got free from this terrible situation. His brother Andy walked him out to the gate, and they put him in a car with his supervisor, who was going to be pretty much written up and have to pay for his crimes, one of his immediate supervisors or squad leaders who got really fouled up in the raid, and you can see that in the wonderful movie from 2012, The Raid, or The Raid Redemption. And then after that, they meet this little bitty police inspector, and he says, I want to talk to you a little bit. And he doesn't really seem too impressed with wanting to talk. And he says, well, this guy's hurt really bad. He shows him a squad leader. Squad leader is still messed up. The makeup in this movie is fantastic. And they studied the previous prints of the movie before this very well to get everything correct. And they didn't change actors. It was nice. So they show you the squad leader and they escort him out, and he had his 2 minutes of screen time for this movie, and he's gone. You'll never see him again in this film. And then his supervisor, who was found to be kind of on the take at the very end of the raid, we find out just how corrupt everything was and what was exactly going down with that movie. And this little bitty police inspector shoots him. Just blows him right out. And says, now that we are alone, I'd like to talk to you about going undercover. And Rama isn't really feeling it. He just endured the worst raid in Jakarta's history that he knows of. There's been those before, though, that have had this and they failed. They've had to go pick up bodies. And the inspector says, listen, they're not going to miss you. One cop missing out of 20. They've got a folder in a van and all the bodies of everybody else. They're not going to miss you. We can
that right there, that when they opened the doors, that was sad.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't really give you a lot of time to
process
develop what happened.
No, you get to see the aftermath of all the cop bodies stacked up in the back of the van, and the inspector and everybody else is just putting handkerchiefs over their they put the handkerchiefs over their faces because it smells bad. And if you feel sad for it, because like those guys, they didn't realize they're getting screwed out of their existence. They didn't realize they were part of a corrupt raid in the system.
Well, they didn't realize, the guys that, if you knew you were set up to go somewhere, pretty much that you're not going to come back, you would have went, or you would have went with 10 times more firepower and better chances for you to survive. But none of these poor guys that were in the back of the van even had that opportunity.
No.
And it was a stroke of miracle or whatever, stroke of luck that he made it out.
Yeah, and if you watch the first raid again, you'll understand just how lucky he was to even find his brother in the employ of the mafia at the time, because that was his key to survival. That final fight, he wouldn't have lived without his brother. And he saved his ass. Hi,
yeah, see, that was almost the only I don't know, feelings where you had actual feelings between two people to give yourself for, you know what I mean? To fight for. When you're just when you have a movie that's just a bunch of people brawling and fighting and throwing each other around without any reason or purpose behind it, it gets kind of boring very quickly. So you have to set up a good reason for people to root for the guy, to root for you. You want the good guy to win. So by putting the aspect of him fighting for his brother, that's what made you want to root for him. And that's important to me for an arc in a story.
I'll agree with that. I will completely agree with that. He becomes an undercover cop at that point because he really doesn't have a choice. He's told they're going to kill his kid, they're going to kill his wife, and they'll kill him because he knows way too much. Even though he brought back tapes, he brought back evidence. He even had the guy pretty much responsible for the past 5 or 6 years of corruption, and the inspector shot him. It's like, dang it.
Yeah.
So they're going to send him to prison after he beats up a politician's kid. And that's the same politician that made sure that his new Mark is in prison. And that's why Rama goes in. And when he goes in, nobody knows him. Nobody knows who he is, what's going on. But he goes into prison, and the first thing that happens after he's brought into general population is he's in the bathroom stall and he gets into a fight with about 25 guys.
Yeah, that was the coolest scene ever. The way that they filmed that was just genius. I thought the overhead view.
The overhead view of the stall. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that was just phenomenal scene. I wish I could have seen it a little bigger, but it really was. It was. I've never seen anything like that in every movie, and I've seen a buttload of movies. I'm sure you have too, but that scene was just really, really cool.
yeah, when I saw this in the theater, this is the movie that I don't know if I told you guys last week. I think I did, but I brought my friend Abigail, or she was a friend at the time. I brought her down here, and I had different ideas of what was going to happen, and that didn't happen. So she's like, "We're going to go see Transcendence," and I'm like, "I don't want to see Transcendence. I want to go watch this movie." She's like, "I don't want to know. I don't want to read no movie." And this film is not that long. It's about maybe 12 pages of script, and the rest of it's kinetic action.
Hmm.
Grumpy, how you doing, bud? Um, I really, I really enjoyed seeing this movie. I wish I could have taken somebody with me the first time I saw it. And then the second time I saw it, I took my friend Oren and our friend Steven. Half of the D&D group I had back in Corpus Christi went with us. And they didn't see the first movie, so they were kind of lost at first. And then they kind of put it together by the end of the film. They knew what was going on because the movie's not hard to follow. You just got out of a bad situation, but we're going to put you back in prison. We're going to put you in prison. You're a cop. Don't let them know you're a cop.
Hmm.
And he gets to wear a wire, and he gets his butt beat by about 18 or 17 guys. He really puts it to like two or three of them really badly. And
Well,
then
he
the
was kind
younger,
of lucky the way that it turned out because when you had that many people squashed into a tiny space, you don't really have much room to really do a lot of damage, by swinging your arm way back, things like that. So
no.
I think that was one of the reasons why he came out not as bad off as we thought he might be.
And that first fight just kind of set the pace after that
Hmm.
because he goes into the meal hall after he's bandaged himself up a bit, and here comes his mark to sit down in front of him, and that's played by Arpin Putra. And he plays Uko, the son of, I think, Bangun. Is it Bangun? Yeah, son of Bangun. Bangun is the head of the Jakartan mafia. That's partially in charge of Jakarta. And Uko's in prison because he's a politician. Well, Rama went to prison because he beat the hell out of the politician's kid. And then his introduction in prison was getting his butt beat by a bunch of guys, but he really laid it to a bunch of them very well. And you see the guy that was sitting in front of Uko is beat up. Like he just is his face is mashed potatoes. Okay.
Yeah, his nose was broken at least. At least it looked like it. They did a good job at making him look like he'd really had the crap beat out of him.
For those of you that don't know who Courtney is, she's a pretty cool person. She does game streams, she does art streams. Uh, she's a pretty nice, chill person. Like to see more of her. Like to see her get bigger. I'm just saying. Thank you, Papa Cotton, for putting her link in chat. Um, he he goes from there and starts making a small name for himself because once Uko leaves his table, Uko doesn't really threaten anything, but he lets him know that, I noticed that you got into a fight. All of my guys are beat up. And after that, there's a small scene where somebody makes an appearance and says, "Listen, I'm just here to make an appearance for you to help you out." And then he disappears.
Well, when he was approached in the cafeteria
Yeah.
from the gentleman that was sitting by the guy that was the shit beat out of him,
Yes.
and he walks over and he sits across from him at the table and he's stabbing the table with a huge knife.
Where
And
the
the
hell
guards
did you
don't
get
do
that
shit. This was like, what kind of prison cafeteria is this? Well, you can
Very
one of the
relaxed.
prisoners can sit there and threaten you with a huge butcher knife. I just thought that was interesting.
You and me both. I forgot about that scene until we watched it again last night. I'm like, oh God, I forgot about this. And then I heard you
You got to
laugh.
remember, I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah. I
So.
heard you laugh on your mic, and this is before you had the popcorn. So
Oh,
you muted that once that got ready, but and I thank you for that. I didn't mean. I hopefully you didn't hear me eating, but you might have. I apologize, but I I was hungry, and that's
yeah,
such
my
a good
daughter,
movie.
I sent her a text, hey, can you make me some popcorn so I could watch this movie? But it was good.
So, so I was pretty impressed. He has a couple instances in the prison where he bumps into Uko, and then finally one day there's a big prison fight, and it looks like somebody's trying to kill off Uko, and
Hmm.
Rama stops it. Now, mind you, the prison fight is one of those prison fights that hasn't probably been done in cinema before.
Have you seen that why did that whole the way that was set up with the two long sides and then the back where he was sitting when he started taking the handle off the broom or the little shovel that he had,
Broom.
why did that look familiar to me?
I
Have you
don't
seen
know.
that same fields or?
I have no idea what that looked familiar. I really don't.
Oh God, I
But
know I've seen it somewhere before. I mean, it was so familiar because both sides had action going on in the little cage area, like almost like it was like I wish I could remember the movie it was from, but they're all sitting around with their little gangs. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you're not ready. I had no idea that there was going to be a huge melee in a mud field. Basically, the biggest mud fight I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, it looked really familiar. I just wanted to ask you because it looked. I don't know. I recognized it from somewhere. The way it was set up, and it looked huge. I mean, it looked made the way they filmed and the angles they used made the yard, the prison yard look huge.
Might get, yeah. This,
Yeah, see, doesn't that look ginormous?
yeah, it does. That looks great.
But what does it not look familiar to you in that shot you just showed me?
Um, Really, what it looks like was it looked like um, they'd taken like an old movie from 2005 that we reviewed called The Raid,
Hmm.
the POW camp. Remember that POW camp? For some odd
Yeah,
reason, it looked like it would have fit right there.
yeah, maybe that was why I recognize it. Just looked, just a couple of really quick shots, and I was like, I've seen this before, but I don't know where because I know I hadn't seen this movie before. So I just thought that was interesting that maybe it was
You
in a
and
different movie that I hadn't seen.
Hey, Six Nations, 31 Kings, how you doing? Hey, Wolf Media. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Yeah, this movie just it has this prison fight that the
Oh yeah, that one scene. I
Yeah.
know I made a lot of noise when the one guy's face gets slammed against the concrete right there at the very beginning, and he could see his like side of his face dent in. That was pretty gruesome, but it was good. How
Yeah,
come I can see that screen?
I have no idea. I buy
Isn't
this
that
movie and I
weird?
stream it over to you, and it just they're like, no, you can't do that, Bruce.
Yeah, this part where yeah, when he can because he can already tell that they're on their way over there. Okay, it's coming up. That one scene I was talking about.
Perfect. That movie is so freaking perfect as far as kinetic is concerned. Kinetic action. Oh my god. Sorry, if I show too much of that, I think we're gonna get demonetized and ripped off
Well,
the.
the thing is that um, I don't understand why there aren't more movies like that with this much action in them. I mean, that's why John Wick is such a huge hit, and the movie Nobody was such a huge hit. It had so much great hand-to-hand combat action in it, and it was a believable fights because the reasons behind why they were fighting, and that's what made it exciting. But I mean, I just don't understand why there just isn't more action movies like that. I
I
mean,
would love
there's
to
fights
see.
every day in the cities, so people fighting over seats on the bus. So I don't know. I thought
Did
it
you
was
watch?
great.
I don't want to sound like a Fox News guy, but I was watching YouTube and Fox News popped on after I watched something I wanted to watch, and because that's usually how it happens. I don't really elect to watch Fox News, but it pops up after like the salty cracker. Or, one of our buddies, like John talks, and all of a sudden, oh, here's some blasé news. Well, they showed the guy from the what meteorology department at Fox News. He got rolled in the subway last night at 1:30 this morning, I should say, and he's all beat to hell.
No, I didn't see it.
And he got beat up by like 5 or 6, 15, 17-year-old kids, not even adults. They just beat the hell out of him. And it's like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
And he went to work.
And he went to work. He's still got the fresh scrapes on him, and they're like, "Are you feeling okay?" He's like, "I'm really worried about my ribs." And I'm like, "Did you go to the doctor?" And he's like, They were at the hospital, and they said I'm just bruised." I'm like, ah. But they had him. I think it was on the 5, and Jesse Waters was interviewing the guy, and he's like, "I'm just angry. I'm angry that these kids are out there and they're not really doing anything. They're harassing people on a subway. People got to use a subway. It's the only way we can get around New York cheaply. Nobody can afford a $37 Uber ride every day back and forth to work. We got to use a subway." And it's like this guy just looked like he had the hell beat out of him, like he was out of the movie The Raid. And it was a funny scene because I was watching that as I was preparing for tonight's movie or movie review with you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll mention that to Janet. And you hadn't seen it yet. Yeah, this guy had a nobody moment. Seriously. And yeah, I try not to watch the news. Yes, Papa. Salty Army. Yes, sir. So that prison scene, you can find that on YouTube. The Raid 2 prison fight, you'll have fun. One
Yeah,
of the best.
it's really good. It's very intense. It's definitely it's worth watching because it is action packed. And if you like to see a bunch of people flopping around in the dirt and mud, it's really good.
And that's the weird thing. Like this fight, people get ugly dirty in this fight. They get so beat to hell, and then like while they're in the mud, they're getting stabbed. So you see blood going in the mud. It you don't see movies like that, and that's
Mm-mm. Yeah, don't.
one of the main reasons why I love this movie so much is that it paid attention to the stupid little things that happen during fights that you don't usually see in a big time movie. Now you mentioned Nobody and John Wick earlier, and that those two movies are important to note because they were made by the Stosky, Chad Stosky, I think is the guy that was in charge of that, and maybe his brother. But that's some stunt guys that decided they would make movies. And
Mhm.
if that's how we have to go nowadays, is have professional stuntmen make movies, okay, I'm ready to turn over my entertainment dollars to our stuntman overlords.
Well, the thing too is that when you watch some fights in movies, they zoom in on just the main actor, or and maybe bits and pieces of the people he's fighting, type of thing,
Mhm.
because they're just camera hogs or whatever. But these scenes were so wide angled. You got so much action going on all at the same time that you can just scan across and watch multiple fights,
Mhm.
and they're all great. They're all it looks like they're really, really making contact and really hitting. You're using weapons. Some are using, different things that, rocks they picked up off the ground, sticks, their fists, and some of them have shivs. And that's what makes it really, really exciting. It's almost like you're immersed in the middle, and you could turn almost a panoramic view and see fights all the way around you. It's really intense and very exciting, I thought.
Yeah, when we watched this in the theater, we were kind of taken aback because we knew the first movie was really good, and the second movie seemed to just like take what was so novel about the first, and it just made it bigger. It's not no longer in a tight confined building. Now they've
Mm-mm.
got room to move around. They've got like the action that goes on in the prison. There's some city fights. There's a fight in a club. They have so many variations of brawls. I think there's like 17 scenes in this movie where there's a brawl, and not a single one of them is repeated.
Hmm.
Um,
And plus, when you're watching this fight, you're thinking, in the back of your head, whenever you see a fight, all you're thinking is when the one person's getting the shit beat out of them, for them to get up and run off, right? But
mhm.
in this scene, there's nowhere to run, even though it's a big area. It's a prison. So they're basically trapped in there, and the only thing you can do is try to defend yourself.
And
Period.
that and
You don't have any
that's
other
important to
options.
note because there are two guys that try to climb the fence and they
Oh
end up
yeah,
getting
that's right.
shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't too good.
No,
But it wasn't just they were climbing the fence. There's wire at the top too.
yeah.
So they were afraid enough to try to climb over a huge amount of razor wire, and then when they were trying to climb over it, that's when they were shot by the sharpshooters, or
Yeah,
sharpshooter.
I would say it's a
In that scene.
sharpshooter. That shot was pretty far distance.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Um, I just
But I guess in desperation, you will be willing to risk cutting all your fingers and stuff off to get over the fence. And whoever knows what other body parts you might be missing when you're done.
so after that big prison fight, Uko learns to value what Rama can do.
Mhm.
You're good, Papa Cotton. You're good. Um, the uh, the things going on during that fight cement it in Uko's head that he needs Rama in his life to protect his ass. And so that's what happens. The rest of the time he's in prison, Rama takes care of him. And then when Rama gets out, Uko's there to pick him up, carry his bag to the car. It's not that far. If it was farther, yeah, I'd let you carry it. And then lets him get in the car, and off they go. And Rama's pulling the bug out of his sleeve. He leaves that behind. And then he meets Bangoon, which is the.
Well, before you go on, this once you see the car drive off, you see the camera like pan down a little bit to the ground
Mm-hmm,
where the car was, and then that's when you see the tape and the round bug.
mm-hmm.
So that's when you realize that, yeah, he took it off knowing that he better take it off, which was a smart move when you see what happens to him after that.
He gets to meet Bangoon and Eka. Eka's the current like minder for Uko for Bangoon. Uko, you find out, is not well thought of by Bangoon. Bangoon really does not appreciate his kid much. He doesn't.
Mm-mm.
His kid screws up a lot of things, and now that he's out of prison, now he's got to babysit his child again. So Eka's there to take care of him, and it then after that brief bit of discussion where you find out these things from Bangoon, because he tells Rama and the audience basically all together, yeah, we have a nice little empire here. I hope to pass it on to my son. I hope he doesn't screw it up too bad. And
Mm-hmm.
then now take off your clothes. What? Take off all of your clothes.
Yeah, I thought that was a really intense scene. Very scary because we don't really know whether he just has one bug or not.
No, you don't know how many bugs he's got on him, and it just is a luck of the draw, I guess, that none of them became exposed at that moment. Because if you find
Well,
out,
I don't think
right,
there was any more on him because
I think there was one in his pants.
well, there was a battery he had in his mouth. I know
Yep,
that. But
yep.
the thing is that the only other place he could have had it was up his butt
No, I don't think he
because
had that.
they
I
made
think it
him
was.
take his skivvies off and turn around and bend over. So I thought that
They
was
take,
very, very
they take
intense.
his clothes. They get him new clothing. They
Hmm.
get him a new life. He gets to babysit Uko with everybody else in the family.
Now, what do you think of that apartment they took him to? It was really weird to me. It was very well, it was very futuristic looking, but it's like a huge openness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know if that was it because it was on like a compound they were on, or was it a separate from them?
I think it was
I don't
separate
know.
because the scene later on when he's fixing himself, the phone rings. He's like, "Where the hell are you?" "I'm at home fixing myself up. Get over here now."
Mhm.
And it's like that's. It sounds like it's like 15 minutes away.
Well, I
That's
know, but I mean, if they have their main mansion, house over here, then they have an area over here, in this other area where there's apartments or whatever for the people, still be on the same compound as this rich guy. But it just seemed like it was a very open apartment with, the bed and stuff up. But I guess it would be typical of a. They did a pretty good job to me, I thought, at trying to make the businesses, the office, the apartment, and everything not so Asian. I mean, that may sound bad, but um, more worldly, so
yeah,
that
look
it was,
very
yeah,
metropolitan.
so that it was, yeah, it's very worldly, where anyone from any place could go there and feel like they'd feel comfortable, uh, like in that office, sitting at the giant desk or whatever,
Mhm.
in the conference room, things like that. The room wasn't like all like you expect a bunch of geisha girls to be running around in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I meant. It
Well,
had this. It had a worldly appearance to the rooms and the furniture and the
bo-
way things were decorated.
both Taiwan and Indonesia in their urban environments, they don't feel like anything like traditional Oriental countries do. Um, Japan has set the scene for a lot of people's stereotypes of what you expect, like the paper walls and the paper decorations and all that. But that's not how it is over in Indonesia for the most part. You will find Japanese people living in Indonesia, but I don't really see the Yakuza over there trying to take over Jakarta the way they did. I could see it with other means by them selling things like drugs or other vices. Yeah, it's Indonesia. It's not. It's if so. It's not full retard like old school Hong Kong. Correct, and that's completely correct. There, Wolf Media. I mean, it just Hong Kong is crazy, but it's different. Taiwan and is a little better than that, I think, but not a lot of people know much about Taiwan. My father had a lot of dealings with Taiwanese. Got to meet a couple of the guys from his job, but they the decorations here were very much just a global or metropolitan style. And I liked the way his apartment was set up. It did have a nice openness to it.
Yeah, it was like almost like it was open in the middle on purpose for them to, train or whatever. That's what I was
Train,
thinking
or
when
if you have to defend yourself, you're not destroying furniture and property.
well, yeah, but most people don't move into an apartment so they know they're going to defend themselves. But if it's a certain type of apartments might rent to people who are, soldiers or whatever else so that they can have a
True.
place to train for whatever it is they're going to be doing
And he
that
didn't
week.
spend a lot of time. He didn't spend much time at home. It seemed like. It seemed
Now,
like the majority of his time he was sandwiched over to Uko's side and doing stuff like, what does Uko want to do today? Well, we're going to go see a hooker. We're going to go see a girl try to sing karaoke.
well, the one scene after he was in his apartment and he's walking around and everything and looking at it, and he put the music on
Hmm.
in the awesome looking CD player, whatever it was, and then he took the SIM card or whatever it was that was in his mouth and put it into the phone that he had. It made me, I don't know, that was the one thing I thought was kind of, I don't know, very. I don't know, it was kind of sad to me because he calls his wife to hear his, child and everything because he'd been there for a while, right? In the
Hmm.
jail. And she just didn't seem very like bawling her eyes at where in the hell you been, that kind of thing. It was like very nonchalant phone call, which I don't know. I was hoping for a more emotional stuff, like when she held the phone out and let her listen to his son making noise, you know but
That was the best part of that phone call, I thought.
yeah, it was, but I mean the leading up to that part of it to me wasn't very tender and um I don't know, personal.
No.
And if
What?
if
What?
she, if my man had left me and I didn't know where he was or anything for 2 years, I would have been a little less nice. But I guess because she was an Asian woman, people always say the Asian girls are so easy to get along with and they just do what they're told or whatever. I don't know. But I wouldn't have been that happy.
Theta Moon Me. Hello, sir. Hey, multi-gun man. How you doing? Wolfton says maybe she's in fear, trying not to let anybody who could be listening hear her cry. That's a
uh,
possibility.
yeah, that definitely could have been. I don't know. I was expecting, because I wanted to get emotional, for that part because after seeing the first movie and what she'd been through,
Hmm.
and then knowing that he was just taken, basically,
Yeah.
and he was gone for over a year, almost 2 years away, and she just didn't seem. I mean, I think she knew him well enough to know that he wasn't going to just run off and leave her.
No.
So she just didn't seem. I would love to have seen a little more emotional between her and in that conversation that she just had with him.
Agreed. I can see that. Um,
Especially since she had a baby by herself, you know. So I don't
what did
know.
what did you think about the henchman that Bejo was using? Hammer Boy, or a baseball bat boy, and Hammer Girl.
Oh, I thought that the girl was freaking kick ass. I just love that the whole thing in the train. It made me think of your train movie you made me
Yes.
watch. But it was exciting. I thought I was just enthralled with that scene. It was so awesome. I mean, and the fact that she's wearing a short white skirt was just awesome. I just thought it was really cool. I thought there was a really kick butt scene. That's one. I think that scene, that fight scene, I think that was my favorite fight scene in the whole movie.
The fight scene on the train.
Yeah, with the girl though, the one with the little white skirt when she got that
Yeah.
one guy that goes right between her legs
Yeah.
while she's bashing his head in with a hammer. Oh man, that was freaking cool. So see, I could watch that scene uh 3 or 4 times in a row, and not be bored because of it. It was just really, really well. The angles that the cameraman used, everything about this scene was just phenomenal. I mean, you know what I mean? It was just exciting from beginning to end. I loved it. And the blood and the gore to go along with it was realistic.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody
Everybody
see
just kind
that?
of follows out. They know what's going
one
on.
angle with the guy standing there. It gave me a flashback of the Matrix with all the same, that one guy that had been cloned over and over again
Yes.
for a split second. That's what it looked like to me. That's what popped in my head. Yeah, see?
Yep.
See, we're a short white skirt to be covered in blood. I just thought that was cool.
Now, she's not a martial artist.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still freaking cool.
I like how she was trained to look like she's a martial artist, but she's no more a martial artist than, say, Charlize Theron.
She reminds me of the one actress that was in Kill Bill and had the special what was it? I don't know what that. It wasn't a sword. It was some kind of weird other tool that she used.
Ball and chain?
Yeah, a mace. That's what it was. The girl that used the mace and wearing the little schoolgirl outfit.
Yes.
That's who she reminds me of. That the fighter, the way that she fights. That's what she reminds me of. But yes, this scene was freaking awesome. I loved it. See there, she's got his head between her legs. Oh, it was freaking cool. It was every woman's dream that, to be able to get revenge against a bunch of badasses with hammers. I mean, that would be so cool. I wish I could kick ass like that. She definitely kicks ass.
I think a lot of people want to be able to kick ass like that. And poor guy's all alone with the girl that's a little bit crazy. Always wears the big glasses for a very good reason.
Well, I was expecting him to wet his pants or something because after seeing that, you're dead. There's nothing left, or you ain't gonna have any balls left because she was gonna gouge them off with the claw of a hammer. That was a good scene.
That girl, Julie Estelle, is not a martial artist. She's a model and an actress, and they taught her to fight like that for this movie. So you have this woman that's very good at moving. She was a dancer as a young kid. And so they were like, oh, and they started training her on how to do the movements with the hammers. And she kind of fell right into it. She's a natural with that, but her style of dance that she did helped her out.
Well, yeah, because it was almost, you could tell she had gymnastic qualities from her,
Yes.
the way she was able to flow with, through the scenes and around the bars and stuff that were in the way. And then, to like wrap her legs around certain people and things like that. I mean, it's just, she flowed almost. It was very fluid in the scene and be able to swing hammers around. It was really good. It was a very well choreographed, the whole thing. It was just excellent, I thought.
Six Nation 31 King says, would that ball and chain Gogo used be labeled as a Kusari Fundo? You probably could. I would say that would qualify for that.
Is he talking about the Kill Bill scene?
Kill Bill with the young.
Yeah, I thought it was a mace. That's what is that what a mace is? It's a ball with a chain and a handle on it. Isn't that what a mace is?
Actually, that's a mace is more like a spike club. A ball and chain is what we call a flail.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking it was a mace. So
Flails
all these years I was wrong.
You're good. Don't worry.
It was still kick ass though in Kill Bill, but her using that too, and they're swinging it and making that noise.
Yeah.
But that's what this scene reminded me of. Her character reminded me of that character from Kill Bill.
I really enjoyed watching the baseball bat boy do his job because he just whipped that sword around like it was nothing.
Hmm.
I
Well, that
think
was, I'm not saying it wasn't good. I thought it was really good too, but I just thought her little white skirt, and her
it was Jessica
running, and
Biel.
I don't know, just the whole scene, the very first opening scene, looking down the the tube of the train and seeing the Matrix guys all standing there, and her stepping into it like she's going to just kick some ass now. I just thought that was cool because you didn't know what was going to happen for sure. Till she pulls out two hammers, you're like, what the, you know, it was good. I liked it. Well, that was a really good scene.
I
And watching her rip the, that was kind of gruesome. Was her, when she'd claw them and then just rip it instead of just like lifting a little bit to take it out where it doesn't rip. She didn't
mhm.
do that. She pulled it straight back to rip it out like you would a piece of wood or something. You're trying to tear the nail out instead of pry the nail out like most people would do. You'd rip the nail out, and that's what she was doing. Those guys were hurting or dying when she was finished.
um, Bejo is using the uh, the war between Bangun's gang and the Japanese gang ran by Goto.
Mhm.
Kiichi Endo is the actor for him, and the Japanese gang is pretty cool. But there's like some unresolved story threads that should have led to a third movie and a fourth movie. And I'm just going to let you guys know if you haven't already heard, the time for that might have already passed because the director Gareth Evans wanted to make a third movie, not with uh, Iwakweis, but he wanted Rama to be in the background, at least be in the background. If at all, he's barely a small character because the action would focus on all the other gangs tearing Jakarta apart and tearing each other apart for 90 minutes to 2 hours, and that kind of fell through because nobody in Jakarta wanted to actually film that. They didn't want to have something like that take place because they didn't want to have something that would remind people of the fact that organized crime is a big factor in Jakarta. And they didn't want to have a situation where you could have a movie used as a blueprint later. So that kind of got scrapped. And then the third part of the movie that's in the series for Iko Uwais, the character for Rama, they uh, they just kind of dropped the ball. He's worked with a lot of these people from this movie since then,
Hmm.
but Gareth Evans has said, I believe we're closing the window and you're getting two good raid movies instead of two really good raid movies and a third which could suck and a fourth which could be really difficult to film.
Yeah, I love the Crouching Tiger movies, and the Geisha or whatever Memoirs with a Geisha. Those
Hmm.
are good. But the scene with the boy, the baseball bat scene, reminded me of another movie too, The Warriors.
Yes.
The gang scene, the baseball bats dressed like
Baseball team.
baseball players.
Yes.
So I can't help it. I had lots of deja vu watching this movie. It brought back a bunch of other movies scenes from it. Not that they were exactly the same. It just had remnants of memories, like flashes in my mind uh, from intense scenes or whatever. So in a way, it helped because it intensified my excitement, waiting to see what was about to happen in that scene when I had those flashes. But I'm sure a lot of people who hadn't seen any of those other things wouldn't have had the same, flashbacks as I would. But for myself, that's what I felt. And I thought that movie was great. That was a good movie. I would love to review that one day.
You want to review the Warriors sometime? Okay.
The Warriors, yeah, it was great. That
Put
was a
that
very
down.
well made movie, I thought too.
Uh,
Lots
it,
of good
it,
action and stuff in it too.
we could go through the entire cinematography of Walter Hill and I'd be happy. I just want you to understand that I really like Walter Hill's work.
Mhm.
And one of the movies he worked on, that not many people remember, but it's in the opening credits for Alien. He worked on the movie Alien.
Mm-hmm.
He's just an amazing. He's an amazing guy for Hollywood. I mean,
Yeah,
he
if
was
you have a
also
good eye, it shows. I mean, because other people can see it. They can see your vision, and to me, that's what makes good movies.
hmm Um, I don't want to go too far off topic, but I really love, yeah, Fearless is another good movie.
Mhm.
It's a Jet Li film, one of the last martial arts film movies that Jet Li did. Um, Crouching Tiger, Hero, there's skilled combatants in this film. Love the movie. Nobody's a complete slouch unless you're the most skillful. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. The stunt actors they use for this film, they're very skilled. They've got good muscle memory. They understand the risks with their job. There was a for this movie in the Raid Part One. I didn't see a lot of talk of like injuries on set, so that told me something that they were very conscious of what they were doing. Flady says Orgasmo should be the next movie review. I don't know if Janet would not enjoy that. I think that movie's hilarious, and I think she'd probably have a having a medical emergency from laughing so
I
much.
haven't seen it.
You've never seen Orgasmo? Okay.
Mm-mm. When you said that, or when you put it in the chat, I was thinking it was something from South Park.
It is.
Oh, it is?
It's the
Okay,
same guys that wrote South Park wrote Orgasmo.
because I know that the kids used to talk about the little fake robot they made.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yes.
And they named him that. So that's what I was thinking. I didn't know there was a movie. The only movie I've ever seen was the one where it had Saddam Hussein and Satan.
Yes,
They
that's a
were
good movie.
lovers.
South Park film.
Yeah.
There's
So
another one called Imagination Land. We need to see that soon.
I haven't seen that one before.
Um, but this film is just so fucking good, and you have the two sides that are shown. Then you have Bejo, the guy that's trying to cause a lot of grief in the city by taking other people's land. What makes a man? Thanks for putting that song in my head. Thanks, Flady. um, I could gush about this movie, but I need to ask Janet. You talked about your favorite fight scene, and that was in the prison, in the bathroom.
Well, I said that was an awesome scene. It was one of my favorites, but my favorite one was the one with the hammers and stuff. I thought that was just something I've never seen before.
What did you think about the pin ultimate scene where Hammer Boy or a baseball bat boy and Hammer Girl are told to go take care of the problem so Bejo could continue to entertain the police commissioner and have this little thing go on, because at the very end, I mean, Bangoon gets killed by his own son. Uko
Hmm.
kills his father,
Yeah.
which is like the saddest part of that movie, because you have a son that's crying out the whole time, I want to be able to measure up to you. I want to be able to measure up to you. And all he ends up doing is killing his own father. And then he kind of ruins the legacy of his father. And he takes under, the side with Bejo. Bejo gives him those 5 guys to slit their throats.
Hmm.
And he sees a tattoo on one of them that later matches a tattoo that Bejo has. And
Yeah.
it puts more doubt in his head, as if it's bad enough that Rama smartly puts a bug in his wallet.
Hmm. Well, I don't know. I felt sorry for the son. I mean, it sounds pretty bad, but he was spoiled rotten brat. He's so used to getting anything and everything he wanted that all he wanted was power. But even though he just wanted power, he still wanted his father to love him and to think he was worth it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So all I saw was a tortured soul, almost like uh, when I got you to watch Lars and the Real Girl. Okay, the tortured guy that ends up getting this doll, which helps him break his psychosis that he was in. It's a mental instability. You know what I mean? And basically, his son was mentally unstable due to the fact that his dad was never there for him and just gave him what he wanted just to get him out of his hair, basically. So that's why he's troublesome. That's why he went to prison. That's why he was a pain in the ass. And then you had the son that just wanted his father's attention and wanted his father to love him and look up to him. And I felt sorry for him. So I had a hard time getting past that as a mom myself, to feel bad about some of the things that he did to his dad. I mean, I didn't really, see his dad, but like when he was chewing at his father, I was almost wanting to root for him. You know what I mean?
I think we disagree a little bit, although I've been in a situation where I thought I was in the right and I was screaming at my own father, and
Hmm.
then later I saw all the facts and I realized like I was in the wrong, even though
Well,
my
see, that's what I'm saying. He's only dealing with his father with the information that he has.
yes.
And I'm trying to look at him as a son, not, even though he's a grown man and everything, and he's made stupid mistakes. Um, his father wasn't truthful with him about a lot of things, so he didn't understand where his father was coming from. So basically, they made their horrible relationship what it was because both of them were secretive, didn't share their feelings with each other. And if his dad would have took him under his wing when he was younger and said, one day I want you to rule this, this business, blah blah blah, and worked a little harder at his relationship with his son, things could have been 10 times different.
Much.
But he didn't. You see, so that's my angle on my point of view of it. And it was, to me, it was a tragedy, the whole thing between him and his father. Sorry,
Um,
if I'm putting so much emphasis in that, but
you're good. You're good. Um, Wolfton Media brings up the car chase scene, which was used by they Gareth Evans is a really good director for being in a kinetic thing, but he doesn't know vehicle chase as well. So he brought
mhm.
in a second unit director to do that for him. And the car chase scene is fantastic. It happens after uh, Rama is subdued by what's only called the assassin. And just as an FYI, there's a character in this movie by the name of Prakoso, and he's one of Bangoon's most trusted men. And the actor that plays Prakoso is the same actor that played Mad Dog in the first movie. And that you'll anything that Gareth Evans and I will Quace or the actor for Rama, if those guys are in doing a movie and Gareth Evans is helming it, you're going to see the guy that played Mad Dog in the film, and that's exactly what happened in this movie. He was in about 10 scenes, and there's one scene that happens in a club that's really sad because it's a setup to kill him, and Bejo lets Uko know, yeah, we're not going to take out some little guy. We're going to make somebody really bleed, and it's going to be on everybody's radar. And it's just kind of a sad heartbreak whenever uh, Prakoso he dies with his child's locket in his hand.
Oh yeah, that was the scene. Well, before that scene was when
Oh.
I told you, I said I recognized him from the other movie because
Mhm.
even though they put long hair and everything on him, and he was tortured, a tortured parent. that wanted revenge so bad for his child, and that was sad to me. That was the saddest scene in the movie, when they rose up above him and the camera's shooting down and you can see the snow and everything around him, and he falls face forward into the snow, and then you see the red blood just go up, start to spread out. It
Yep.
was a sad scene to me. I mean, it was really sad.
This movie hits on so many good levels. It does a good job of showing certain characters can be absolute dirtbags of their job, but they can still have humility and they can still have honor, and that's reflected really well. Then you have people that are born with everything, like Uko, and they have no
Hmm.
respect for the world around them or the people that walk around in those spaces. Um,
That, to me, I hate to say it, but I see uh, so much reality in a lot of these movies, because the realness of what happens when you don't do your job. When you have a child and you bring a child into this world, it's up to you as a parent to train the child to be able to survive on their own in among other people, and in society, whatever they end up choosing to be, whether they're going to work for their parents or they're going to go out on their own and do it, whatever their job is that they choose to do. And we fail them because we don't make them do their homework. We don't help them with their homework. We don't, spend, parent time with them, taking them and doing things away from school about life, fishing, hiking, bicycling, whatever it is that we do. And it's reflected in some of these stories, the reality of bad parenting, you know what I mean? Of parents, absent parents, which is a huge, sad thing to me in our country right now, is that we have so many single parent households that only have the one parent in it. And the other one is non-existent. Either they're with their new family or they're dead, or whatever. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's the children that are the ones that are suffering because they're having to grow up trying to scratch their existence out without the parents being there for them. Latchkey kids or whatever you want to call it. So every time I watch a movie, like the sympathy I have for the one son who ends up killing his dad in the end, and it's a horrendous, terrible thing, but it all goes back to me on the relationship that the parent had with their child. Were they there or did they just throw money at it? Because so many people I've talked to in real life would love to just have the one-on-one relationship of talking and listening to each other more than dad or mom handing them a $5 bill to go buy candy down the street. That's why kids act out sometimes. Small kids act out and do dumb things because they want attention, even if the attention is getting yelled at and being told to go in their room or whatever. It's something. It's and it's sad. And I always do this. I'm sorry, but that's what happens to me. Is I feel the sadness of the lack of communication and the lack of our responsible duty to raise our kids to be better than us, to try to put them into like if you lived in let's say a 2-bedroom apartment, and then you would want your kids to graduate from high school, go to college if you could, or get a good job right out of high school, at a trade job or whatever, go to community college or whatever you can get them to do, and be able to buy their own house. I mean, I remember how excited my mom was when my one sister was able to finally buy their own house, because not everybody gets the opportunity to do that. So that's like seeing your 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 future excelling because that's what everybody wants. They want yourself to live on and your children and your grandchildren, right? So to see them be successful is a good thing. That's what I like, movies that have the children being more successful than the parent, and the parent being proud that that's their child. That's why I was kind of hurt too about the phone call when he calls his wife, and she's so nonchalant basically, but she holds the phone out and lets him hear
Let me hear his
his
voice.
son.
That's the most important
Yeah,
part.
so uh, it showed that he still had a human quality, even though he's been through so much shit and he fights so much and he's seen so much death. He still rejoiced in listening to the new life that he helped bring into the world. See, little things like that mean so much to me, just as a person, but as a woman, as a mother. And I know that dads feel the same way, because I've seen fathers hold their children in their arms, and the compassion that they have for them. And all you want is what's best for them, to keep them safe and help them and see them grow up and maybe one day make you a grandparent. So I don't know. I can't help it. I put that into everything I watch. But that's what we do. We connect with certain aspects of different characters in the movies, and that's what makes them entertaining for us. I'll shut up now.
Good.
But
You're really good. Wolfden Media says during a scene where you have a snuff film porn dealer, that actor was the same guy in a movie called VHS 2, which I'm like, oh my God. And I think about it, I'm like, wait, he could be the same character. Not really a good movie. It's not a bad movie. VHS 2 is passable, I'll say that. I like this movie quite a bit. VHS 2 I only have watched once.
I was just reading the chat, and he's talking about the girl with the horse strap on. That was a funny scene.
Yes.
When she's all pissed off and goes to the refrigerator. I think it was the refrigerator to get something to drink, and she's got that ginormous dildo on. And then you see her
ready to rock, ready to
then you see her go back to the back of the room and go behind the little sheer curtains, and it reminded me of a scene from God, the English British guy that was a 007 comedy. What was the name of that movie?
Bean?
What'd you say?
You're talking about Mr. Bean?
No, the newer one with he made 3 movies. Beyonce was in one of them. Austin Powers. The scene when Austin Powers is in the tent, and the girls doing different things, and it looks like they're doing naughty stuff, and they're not.
Yeah.
But you see her go back and get on her knees, and she's supposed to be doing something, but you can see that she's not really doing anything, because it's not going where you think it would be going. Because I actually watched that part of the movie to see what was going on behind the curtain. Oh, it was funny. I'm a terrible person, but go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I couldn't help it when you wrote it in the chat.
The entire setup for Bangoon to get assassinated, that was sad. And I really liked Bangoon. I liked Uko's father quite a bit in this movie. Even though yes, he's a bad man, I really liked him. I thought he had a good character. I thought he had a guy that I could understand his motivations. He wanted to not have a fuck up for his son.
Well, yeah. That's why he wanted someone to be with him, to make sure he stayed out of trouble. Because he did love him. You could tell that he loved his son. He's just that he didn't know what to do with him. He didn't know how to deal with him. He didn't know, he had his wits in, basically.
Yeah, he didn't have clarity of thought with his child. I'll just say that. Ah, shit. I'm trying to get some stuff set up here. I might have to mute it because I'm brewing some tea and I don't want to hear you guys. You guys be like hearing, is Bruce firing up a bong over there? Shh, quiet.
I've heard people do that.
What did you think about the car chase scene after they got a hold of after they got a hold of Rama, and the assassin beat him down pretty squarely? What did you think of the car chase scene?
Oh, I thought it was a good car chase scene, but I didn't think it was as good as the one from the original movie in the truck.
Mm.
I mean, I thought that was a little more intense than this one.
See, I like the car chase. I thought the car chase was good, and the fight that was happening with Rama once he started coming to and realizing it's go time. Like
Mhm.
there's certain times in your life where if these things happen to you, you need to get your wits about you and fight like hell.
Yeah,
Uh,
if you do get the wits about you, that's the thing. Most people in reality that went through half of what he went through wouldn't even be able to walk or stand
no,
up. So
no,
basically, he had like a superhero, you know, skills to even survive what he'd been through. But
he is good.
yeah, but the thing is that's what kind of movie this is. Like Crouching Tiger, everyone's magical. You're able to jump and do lots of things that most people wouldn't be able to do because they're ninjas or whatever. And that's what makes the movie what it is.
Well, in
That's what we
Crouching
love
Tiger,
it.
Hidden Dragon, remember there is that one guard that he's got the resolve to do the right thing. He just lacks the ability because he gets stuck in a fight between the witch and
Mm-hmm.
Chow Yun Fat,
Yes.
and she paralyzes him, and he's unable to do anything but be an obstacle for the hero to have to fight around.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody in that movie is super super powerful. It's just that that movie focuses on people that are extraordinary, and then you have the regular schleps like me and that guy that's a guard. He's a really good guard. He can be a guard. He should not be an elite troop. There's certain limits, and this movie shows that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But see, that's one thing I liked about these two movies is it seemed like he could take a lick and keep on ticking, but when he was pulling that thing out of his arm by the bathtub,
mhm.
okay, and then it's a close-up scene, and then you see the camera back away, and he's sitting on the ground with his arm up on there, and you could see his legs shaking, like he did a really, really good job at looking like he was in agony for that scene. So he was capable of dying. Is at that moment you could think about him not making it. You know what I mean? So a couple of scenes I felt like they made him so invincible that it was almost unbelievable. I don't know if that makes sense the way I'm saying it, but that scene brought him back down to earth to a human again to me, because he was acting human. He was you could tell he was in intense pain, and that you get a little shadow of doubt that he wasn't going to make it. Make it through to finish everything off. But that was a really good scene. I really liked it. And it'd just be him in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a powerful scene for me. I really liked that one. And that's one of the things I really like about any movie is the fact to see one person rise above their own fear in themselves and not have to be with anyone else in the scene to show their character arc achieving that goal. And that's, to me, it's one of my favorite things to watch for in a movie, especially a action movie, where the person is already gone above and beyond what most humans would be able to do, but being able to do that and seeing it in themselves, their I don't know what the word is, seeing themselves being able to pass a limit that they didn't even think they had.
Yeah, I really wasn't sure if you were going to enjoy this movie or not. I had an
No,
idea you would.
I thought it was better. I liked, there was a lot more human, like I said, uh, more of a human qualities in it, not just shoot, 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 through the whole movie with
Yeah,
a few fights here and there. This had actual story behind it, and you're rooting for them. It's not just, oh, I hope he makes it through the next floor and doesn't lose his eye, or I don't know. It just gave you more to root for when you have something to lose, and I just thought it was really good. I thought the story was great, the script was great, the cinematography was freaking, just over the top great, and the action scenes were just, there was so much in that one fight where they had the giant table, where the woman was with the strap on and everything in that huge room.
yes,
It was so action packed, almost from the opening scene of that, part of that whole part of that one scene was just, it was phenomenal fighting in there. It was just intense, and it was from, just like I said, very wide angles and stuff, instead of it being zoomed in on, where you don't really get to see a lot. You see the camera moving and stuff, but you're not getting to be involved in the scene. They're very immersive scenes where they pulls you into it, like you're almost in the room with them when they're all fighting around you. And that makes the scene even more exciting. And I just thought that was one of the things I liked the most about this director, was his vision of bringing people into the scene with you, with the actors, with him, with the director. Like it was almost, because he was in the middle of it. You know what I mean? But he was like putting you in the director's seat, getting to be right in there on top of everybody and getting to watch the action, and hear the sounds of the fists hitting the skin and things like that. You could, it was just, I just loved it. It was very, you couldn't sit and watch this and not have your blood pressure go up.
yeah.
Excitement. It was good.
That I agree with. The scene where Rama is stuck in the car and he's fighting for his life because it's go time. I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody's loading you onto a box car, or somebody tells you you need to get in the trunk now, no matter if they are armed or not, that's when you fight like hell.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
you're not going to get another chance if you've got your wits about you. Even if all you can do is slap fight,
Mhm.
come on, do that, because otherwise you're going to be the part of your life that is the dash between the date you're born and the day you die. That dash is coming to a very quick end, and a lot of people, that I think we're getting closer towards that time where they're going to be idiots there trying to say get in the boxcar.
Yeah.
Davos just ended, and
Yeah.
they have decided how they're going to try to have a global recession.
Oh, that's something just popped in my head. Did you see that on Twitter? Are you on Twitter yet?
No,
Again? Okay.
no,
Well, I saw a couple of posts saying that they had left and agreed that they were going to start killing off cats and dogs,
yeah,
tons of
we're
them,
trying to
to
they're trying to
lower
get
their
rid of
carbon
pets
footprint.
to lessen our carbon footprint. They're telling us that coffee is bad. If
Farting,
you
burping, beans.
coffee,
Mhm.
the fact that you drink so much coffee, that's bad, and you need to lessen your carbon footprint. Anybody who says you need to stop your habits because of your carbon footprint, not only ignore everything they say, but do whatever's in your power to bring a heavy piece of equipment and park it on top of their body, because they're no longer part of the human race. They're garbage.
I
They're
just
trying to
don't see how
freaking
anyone that thinks for themselves, okay,
Mhm.
gets up, pays their bills, does it, whatever, and listen to some of these people and actually go, boy, those people are really smart. I don't
I
know how
haven't heard
anyone does
anybody
that.
say that yet.
I don't see, it's not even, it's like watching a soap opera on TV. It's not even reality whatsoever. Nothing
Mm-mm.
I heard, coming from a single person there was lives in the real world. Gets up every day, takes a shower, eats her breakfast, goes to work, puts gas in their car, checks the oil, any of that stuff. They don't live in our world. They live in a cube or something, or a big bubble. I don't know.
In the box. Get in the pod.
They're
Get
not.
in the pods. Eat Z-bugs.
They're like, they're nuts. I mean, there's just no other explanation. I don't understand any of it.
I did like one thing that Al Gore said. Al Gore said the truth, but nobody caught it except for a couple people. Al Gore said that we started the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a disguised act which is actually aimed at helping reduce carbon emissions through taxation.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that on stage. And everybody that was there was like clapping, like they're there with Dr. Evil. Oh, yes, that's a good plan. Yes, yes.
Well, what are they going to do about, Nancy Pelosi can walk out her front door and half block down the road and there's a tent city. What are they going to do with all the people in the tents? How are they going to stop their carbon footprints? It's just ridiculous. All of it's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know. I can't even answer because I'm just speechless to even think of an answer, because there isn't one for these people. They're nuts. They are not sane. At least not in a realm that we would understand.
Like, I see the WEF and I gotta get on a soapbox. I'm sorry. I just imagine like all those wonderful A4, A7, or A1 tractors that Caterpillar made during World War II. I want to see them equipped with plows and just push them into a ditch. Just push all these communists and Bolsheviks and all of these smarmy schmug types that wear their little uniforms to identify that they are the ruling class. I just want to see them get plowed into a ditch. I don't hate the ruling class because they are rich or powerful, but on the aspect of them having this ideology where they want to shove that on us, I want to die by a hail of gunfire as I strangle the life out of them. That's it. I want that on camera. I want Klaus Schwab's kid or wife or him. I just want to see some guy with a shaved head and a little bit of a beer belly choking the shit out of him. Some guy that he's ice fished before, or he's like worked on a car, or he's had diesel grease on him for like 3 days straight during the work week. I just want to see a guy like that pummel the hell out of these communist pieces of shit.
Well, you might get your wish. I'm telling you, I just don't know how far some of these people are willing to, step back away from it before they're going to just crack and say, we got to do something. We got to eliminate these people because I'm not living that way. What are they going to do? They're going to start every time they put fart machines in your house and burp machines. So every time you fart or burp, it's what it is. It's that movie with Sylvester Stallone, where all the tickets kept coming out of the wall. And he took him to the bathroom to use his toilet paper.
Yeah.
What was that movie?
Demolition Man.
Yeah, Demolition Man. That's what's happening. It's I don't see. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. It's just there's just nothing. None of it makes any sense at all. It's just total ridiculousness.
And I'm going to retract nothing I said in the last 10 minutes or anything ever on this channel.
You shouldn't. You should just be yourself. If YouTube hates you enough to say, well, we're not going to let you get paid for this video, then hopefully you'll get 1 million views on it, because it's to show how stupid YouTube is. Because they're going to make money off you anyways.
Exactly.
Whether they give you money or not.
They put fucking commercials on my game streams just for the 6 people that are watching, wanting to
I
watch a
got
game.
commercials on my little tiny short videos that might last 30 seconds.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So you have to watch. Yeah, I've had friends say, "Hey, I saw a big commercial right before your video." I was like, "What?" See, I'm not even 500 people, so it's gonna be, and I gotta have 4,000 hours before I'm even monetized because I do shorts and stuff. So I'm never gonna get that far. I'm never. It'd be 10 years from now before I even get monetized. So, but they're gonna make a buttload of money off of me and you all the way up until whenever, if that time even happens. So they don't care.
No.
They just use you and abuse you.
Um,
Well, unless you want to put your penis out there, or a woman wants to show everything, because that's okay. I mean, they don't care if you do that.
No. A woman cannot show her tits. They said specifically on social media, especially on Facebook, a woman cannot show her breasts, but a transgender woman, a newly made woman, previously a man chassis, can show their boobs.
Well, why?
But a
I can show my
cisgender
boobs and
woman-
just say I used to be a man, or I identify as a man. I just have boobs.
As much as I want to entertain that mental illness you just said and watch your boobs, I know for a fact that Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or YouTube would take it down. Now,
Yeah.
if you really want to, Janet, there's a place called Odyssey. And on Odyssey, Wes Moody has.
Well, I don't
shown up
want
the
to.
light.
I would do it in protest just
Yeah.
because I think it's bullshit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But it just, none of it makes any sense. I don't understand, how do these people get so much power and be so nuts? I don't know. I don't understand it.
No,
Doesn't make any sense.
that's the problem with our society. We've let them have this power. We've let them take what was ours.
Mhm.
And they're telling us, well, we can't say these words on Facebook. You can't say these words on Twitter. You can't say these words over here. These are things, they're consonants and vowels that fall out of your mouth. Okay? And
Yeah,
if
but
you were telling me,
how can that be possible when I can type in, go to the search here on YouTube and type in nudes. Okay.
Mhm.
And a whole bunch of stuff came up. I mean, I was seeing videos of people piercing their women's private area. Okay. On camera. Okay. And that's all normal. You can see the genitals of a woman live, or a video of her doing that to herself on a video. You can have that on YouTube, but I can't say a couple of certain words that they don't like. And I'm sitting here with clothes on saying some words, and that's taken down. But if I wanted to show my crotch and put some jewelry on it, that's okay. See, where is that any logic in that? I mean, it's just stupid.
it's not logical. You just nailed it on the head. And I
So
can't
how do they
believe
think they're gonna? I mean, how do you make money doing that? Is it because they only want people that are into porn or want to see coochies and penises? That's the only people they want on their YouTube. I mean, is that what they're trying to promote? It might as well be just a giant OnlyFans, then just take everything else off. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know what they want. I don't understand what their goal is. Their end goal. Where do they think it's going to take them?
I'm not certain.
Not for
I know on
knowledge.
YouTube Kids, I've seen some very no videos when I was on YouTube Kids just to prove a friend's point. Okay, fine, I'll check it out. And I turn on YouTube Kids, and like all of a sudden, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is for kids. This is aimed at children. Okay, I have a gaming stream where we've done all sorts of no things on there, but it's in the context of a game, and nobody got hurt. Nobody got violent acts on them. It was just a gaming stream.
Yeah.
And adult situations. I even have it out there on my channel, not for kids. If you're on my channel and you're a minor, your parents have failed you.
Yeah, I have all my everything I do, and now I even have anything that has the F word in it or dirty innuendos. I have it for 18 and older on
Mhm.
my channel, and that's just a stupid short that's like 30 seconds or maybe a little longer than that.
Yeah, the
Because
degeneracy.
I actually care if a kid is watching it or not, but more than YouTube does, because YouTube doesn't care. They don't care if they watch, if a 5-year-old is watching somebody pierce their genitalia. That's okay. They could care less. See, they don't care about what they put on there. They just care about their agenda, about you saying a word they don't want you to say for control. That's all it is.
Wolfton me
Right.
is like, YouTube, get your shit together.
Oh,
True.
sorry. I
True.
can't help it. I'm very
And they
passionate
promote this
about
crap.
this bullshit.
The end of the movie happens, and Rama is confronted after he beats up every last employee of Bejo.
Yeah.
Bejo gets the greatest shotgun scene I've ever seen in a movie. And if I have any people that have kids in the room, do me a favor and usher your kids out of the room, because I'm telling you now, I'm going to show something nasty if I can show something nasty. 3, 2, shotgun scene. There we go. Yeah. It's pretty horrible what happens to Bejo. And I really enjoyed it, probably too much. All right, escape. Your kids out? Are your kids out of the room?
I hope so.
Hope so. Next shot. Pretty graphic. Pretty good.
Oh, look at the beautiful ceiling in that room.
I love the set design in this show is great.
Yeah, the architecture and the design and everything, it's just very not what I was expecting.
I'm not going to monetize this, by the way. This is fantastic. And by the way, in the chat, will you guys tell me if that is a Benelli M4 shotgun? Because he racks off, I think, 9 pumps on it before he has to reload.
So is it holds up many shells, I guess.
Yeah, you can do a that's
That was
great.
gruesome.
That's perfect. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that was a really, really gruesome scene. But it looks real. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That's the one thing I said about both the first movie and this one, that all of that kind of stuff looks realistic to me. And that's got to be really expensive. Or they got the best special effects and artists on their set. Making the blood, making, the wounds and the flesh wounds and everything, they just look really, really real.
My cousin's second, this sounds ghetto. My cousin's second baby daddy, he's a good guy. They're not good together, but he is a funeral director and he is a makeup artist because he's the guy that goes in the back room with your dead relative and he gets their face right for showtime when they open the casket.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched him work before. And I've watched him use his various tools, his various implements, the various salves, the various makeup kits and effects. And he did real well. I've seen him do some stuff for people that you would have thought been closed casket, but he's amazing. And
well, I don't care how I die. I'm not going to have a casket. I'm going to be cremated. I don't want anybody to see me after I'm not around.
I'd
If
prefer
my
to
soul's
remember
not
you
in
as
it.
you are now. I don't
Yeah.
need to see you when they're made up and all that. And as much as I love Noe's work, I kind of feel the same way about it. Remington 31 is a shotgun used. I could have swore they had nine slugs pushed through that thing, nine shells, excuse me. And that movie, it made that shotgun look so fucking good. God, ugh.
But he's a great actor, though, too. The actor in that scene, both those actors.
Mhm.
I thought they did a phenomenal job at being very believable.
When you're making a movie like this, and you're not an American, and you're making this movie, and the first movie in the series did really well in America, and a bunch of geeks like me got on IMDb and we left a review behind saying 10 out of 10 for The Raid Part 1, and these guys see it
Mhm.
overseas and they're like, looking at budget numbers, the budget for this movie was about $4 to $5 million.
Mhm. That's amazing.
The budget for this movie was $4 to $5 million. They managed to have 19 combats, 19 brawls in it. They had
Mhm.
a car chase scene. They destroyed a building which primarily has no interior to it. It was technically a building, but even on the interior shot, they don't have a whole lot of furniture or desks or computers inside. So they got away with a lot. And this movie was used, they gave it the budget that the first movie received overseas. It was made for 1 million, and I think it made like 5 or 6 million. And they said, we'll give you 4 to make the second movie. Now Gareth Evans is a directing star
I
because he
wonder in their country if they're like praised or anything because they become a star in our country. You know what I mean?
I would hope so. I would hope they recognize that like there's a lot of money that's over here wanting them to make more stuff like that.
I mean, when they leave America and they go back to their country, if there are people like, wow, look at them, they're a famous star now. You know what I mean?
No, they probably just look at him like, Iwo, go mow your lawn. It's grown too high. It makes the neighborhood look like shit. And I imagine he gets comments like that overseas. Like when I went home back to Illinois and I hadn't been there in a while, people complain like, "Oh, you've just now decided to come home. Your dad was slacking on the lawn mowing for the past couple of years. You going to help him
Hmm.
finally?" You know, because I used to mow lawns for a living when I was a kid, and I'm sure whenever people go back home over there, that sort of thing comes out of their neighbors' mouths, like, "Your parents' house looks like crap since you left. You need to get back there and help them. They're getting older. Stop trying to be a rebel and make something of yourself and just get in line like the rest of us, miserable, pathetic slobs. And, we get paid on the 1st and 15th of every month. Be happy."
It's one of those neighbors that says, you're making my property value go down.
Yeah. That's my parents. My neighbors in my parents' neighborhood, they they have that snarky-ish attitude. It's kind of irritating, but whatever. And that's one of the other reasons why I left Illinois. But Sick
Yeah,
Nation
they
31 came
did very
back.
good. Whoever they got in their overall team for special effects and costume um, and prop department and stuff definitely didn't waste a dime on any of the stuff they did because they did every single penny they made went into making it real, making it to the top notch for every penny that they put into it because it looked real. I mean, look at that scene. I mean, because basically, that he didn't really shoot the guy, so they got the whole thing rigged with prosthetic on his face because you see the guy's legs move and stuff
Mm-hmm.
when he's doing it. So it's cheaper to put something on their face and have it explode outward and let them react with their when the explosion happens with their legs kicking like they're dying. Okay, than it is to put a robot body there and have the legs move and stuff like that, because that's more expensive. So you got to have a good actor that reacts realistically, and then you have to have a great person that knows how to do the prosthetics and stuff, and then have the squibs go off at the right time, blah blah blah, and then have all the gore and everything with the action of the other actor pretending to be shooting them. So that's a lot of things that's all got to happen and happen, just right for the scene to turn out as good as that.
Yeah, I've not seen a better scene in a movie since then,
Hmm.
and I'm waiting Hollywood to see what you can do to top that, but you haven't done it yet, and it's been 8 years, going on 9,
Yep.
and that's still the best martial arts movie I've seen yet. When you compare the two between the Raid 1 and the Raid 2, I like the Raid 1 a little more because it's a little tighter narrative. It's a shorter movie. You don't have as much bombacity to it, but the final fight between Mad Dog and Andy and Rama are
Hmm.
absolute. That fight is so good, and when that fight is nearing its end, and Mad Dog's trying to still kick ass and doing a good job of it, even though he's got a fluorescent light bulb jammed into his neck and he's bleeding profusely out of it. That is
Yeah.
that is one of my favorite scenes in a movie. Watching him go at it, and there's not a whole lot of things. If you like movies, there's not a whole lot of things better than that. Wolf Tim's like, I love that fight scene. Yeah, Six Nation 31 King says this special effects team needs to be spot on. The squibs are no joke. Correct. They have to be timed right. They have to be done right. Otherwise, the entire presentation's off, and the team will know that they failed.
And yeah, and the thing is too is once you have the prosthetics in place and everything, and the squibs, whatever you're going to have done, you have to. You don't want to have to do that more than a couple times, because you have to clean up the whole scene, clean up the blood, clean the costume the person's wearing. I mean, everything has got to be, basically start from scratch again. So getting it in 1 or 2 takes, I don't know how many takes it took to get that scene done, but you can tell it was top notch. So whoever I did, the same people that worked on the first movie do the second one.
Yeah, almost the entire team from the first movie is in second, plus a
Yeah,
few
you
other
can
people.
definitely tell, because that's what I was thinking. That it's pretty close to being the same people, or at least the same people in charge of the different parts. The of doing the special effects, the props, and the costume. All of that works together, because people don't realize it. But if a person's wearing a white shirt and a jacket, like in John Wick, okay, and he does a scene, and let's say from this angle or that angle, depending on it, and they get it done, okay, and then they get the scene finished, and he's got like 7 or 8 blood stains on his jacket or his shirt. Well, then when they do the editing and stuff, they realize that they forgot something, or something was wrong with the scene, so they have to redo it. So when they redo it, it's got to match the scene before and after. So when they refilm it, you go by and they look at the pictures and stuff, and they have to have this suit, the boo-boos on his face or his arms, the blood stains. I mean, everything's got to match up to the pictures. That's why you have photographers on every scene. They have a photographer that's all they do is take photographs. And then sometimes you have the makeup people, they'll take their own pictures and stuff too, but they use the professional pictures to make sure that when they go back, the continuity is right. And that takes a lot of work. It's a lot of time. And that's why you want to try to get the take done quickly, as cheaply as possible, and as accurate as you can, to follow for the script supervisor. And and you get a great scene. So when you have a good team and you flow well together, yeah, you definitely would want to get them back. That's why you'll also see a lot of directors that are have certain people they really like, same stunt coordinator or head makeup person, things like that, and keep bringing them back into their whatever it is they get to choose that they're going to direct, because they want to try to get the same people in there because they know what they're going to get. They know what they're getting. So, and you'll see a lot of directors too that pick the same actors, tend to choose certain actors over others if they can get them, because they know that they can work well with those people. So it's just a good mixture if you get the right combination, and you can definitely make money and come out with a good product that will last a long time.
Just kind of in awe. I'm gonna watch this movie again when we're done here, but it's a good movie.
It is. It's very good. But the saddest scene to me was the scene where the guy dies in the alley holding his locket. It's very sad. The camera angle and everything to me was just heart-wrenching. That was a heart-wrenching scene for me.
See, the other part of this movie that really hurts is when Rama kills Uko after Uko tries killing him with a shotgun, and Uko drops the shotgun, or somebody takes it out of his hand because you never hear the shotgun hit the floor. But you hear the karambit slide into Uko, and then Rama gets angry because all this shit's happened, and he hits him again with the karambit, and it kind of brings him closer, and Uko just kind of hugs him because like he's not sure what's going on, and he realizes he's messed up. He's at this point, and Rama's hugging on to Uko with the karambit stuck in him, and you can see a wave of emotions just hit his face as Rama has like lived this lie for 2 years plus. And then afterwards, the Japanese arrive because they're going to go get they're going to go get Bejo, and what the hell are you doing? What have you done to us? And they get there and like, all Bejo's guys are dead in the warehouse in the garage. And then out stumbles Rama. Rama looks like shit. Rama's like, I'm done. And that's it. That's all he says. And the movie is basically over. The arc for his character is over. Hey, Wolfton Media, have a good night, sir. Yeah, Six Nations 31 King says one of the things I like about foreign cinema, you get a crew that gels together. You see them, they shine in other films. That crew has done like 7 to 10 other movies together.
Mm-hmm. And I bet all of them were good when it comes to the parts that those people are involved in.
Yeah. They not only the actors, I'm talking like, people behind the scenes, gaffers, makeup, special effects guys. They've been working with each other because they've actually made Jakarta into a movie friendly city, thanks to this movie here, because it was the first movie that Jakarta started closing down roads for to film the car chase scene.
Yeah.
And now it's done that a couple more times. Still hasn't done it nearly enough like what you see in India, but it's getting there. It could be like considered Atlanta of the Orient. Atlanta is not really thought of as like a movie town, but it is movie town. I don't mean to wrap this up prematurely to our guests in the chat, but we do have an early day tomorrow. Janet has to be on a flight at 4:30.
Yeah, in the morning.
I don't like that idea. That means she doesn't get as much sleep as she needs. And she doesn't have my coffee yet. But
yeah, but I'll sleep when I get there, believe me. I'll take a nap.
What movie are you going to assign us for next week?
Well, I was ready to do the next step from the Pitch Black.
Talking about
The
the
second,
Chronicles of Riddick?
yes, the Chronicles of Riddick. I would like to do that because I really loved Pitch Black. I thought it was great, and I love the second one too. And I don't want it to get too far out of my realm of thought to be
Okay.
able to do it. The only thing is, I'm hoping that where I'm going, I'll be able to. I'm gonna be able to do it, but I just won't. Don't. I'm just gonna have to be on my phone. I think. I don't think I'm gonna be able to
Are you
use.
going to be away from home for this next week?
I'm going to be gone for 10 days. So
I know, do you want to just skip next week and we can resume your night 2 weeks from now, if that would be better for you?
it would be easier for me because I'd hate to have to do it on my phone, and who knows what my connection was like.
I'm not willing to chance that you're going to be in somewhere like Broadband City, USA.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
do it
not
a few
gonna.
weeks.
It probably might not be very good, but remember when we first started, it was really terrible.
Hmm,
My connection was not good.
we managed.
Yeah, but it still sucks when you have bad service.
Yeah.
Would
You're
that be all right? I mean, I
Yeah,
hate
that'd
to
be
do
fine.
that to you.
2 weeks from now, we will do a movie review on 2004's The Chronicles of Riddick.
Hmm.
Next week, I'll just do some gaming stuff and paint miniatures. I'll do some product reviews that I actually need to catch up on
Well,
because
I was
I've got a
gonna
bunch of.
say maybe you can have uh, Fat Steven and you get together and do something with your.
If me and Fat Steven get together, the thing I want to do is play Fortnite because he is a
Oh, well,
fun
do
player.
that then. That'll be fun.
But I need to do some product reviews because I got to get back on Dungeons and Delvers. I bought some other stuff from Big Geek Emporium. I need to
Hmm.
talk about some other things that are going on that are not OGL related. And Six Nation 31 King says it's a blast, folks. Have a good night. Quick suggestion if you didn't already see it, the 1985 Japanese film Tampopo is a good lighthearted film about a noodle shop. Tampopo. Okay.
I haven't seen that one.
I think we have another suggestion. Thank you, Six Nation 31 Kings.
Yeah, thank
For
you.
those of you that are in the chat that have been with us tonight, all night, and for those of you that'll be here listening to this voice as we close up this video long after we have ended it in reality, Janet and I would like to say thank you for showing up and giving us the time that you have.
Yes. Thank
My
you
name
for
is
coming
Chris.
and listening to us talk about movies we like.
2 weeks from now, we'll be watching the movie Chronicles of Riddick, if you did not hear before. And next week, I'll just do a paint night and some product reviews. Actually, it'll be product reviews. I need to do that. And I will look forward to seeing you throughout the week. Until then, thank you so much, everyone. Please be safe, be well, be armed, and be ready.